Hey everyone, Mr. Spader here, just for a real quick introduction to, I guess, following directions slash following a procedure. You guys, way back at the beginning of the year, did a little following directions exercise, and if you remember correctly, at the end, all you had to do was put your name at the top, and some people did some pretty silly stuff during that. Well, this activity that you'll be facing this week, if you decide to do it, and that is cooking or baking something from scratch, is going to rely on you following a procedure. A procedure is a series of steps that must be done in order for the final outcome to be what you wish. So in the case of, let's say you're making a cake. I saw actually somebody made a cake last week as well. If you're making a cake from scratch, you need to do things in a certain order in order for the dough, the cake batter, to do what you want it to do. If you're baking bread, same thing. You have to do things in a certain order. And if you look at something like a croissant that has lots of buttery layers, that has way more parts of a procedure than just a loaf of bread you can get down at the store. So hopefully you guys will find a neat recipe online that you can make from scratch. I'm hoping that you don't just open a box of brownies, brownie mix, and pour that into a bowl with some oil and then make it up, because that is not really following a procedure. I like to see step by step by step. If for some reason you don't have the stuff to bake, you could also consider doing maybe like a meal in a crock pot, or bake a meal or something like that has multiple steps that you must follow in order. So for me, I've been working pretty hard on following some steps in order. Now, for me, luckily, what I'm putting together does not have that many steps. It has a ton of pieces, but the steps aren't that bad. So I want to share it with you. Okay. I'm creating like a standing stool for the boys that they'll be able to stand up at the counter, they'll be able to look out the windows, etc., etc., etc. And I got 4 of that letter A up there: 1B, 1D, 1E, 2 C's, 2 F's, and all that other stuff. Now, what does that all mean? Well, these are my 3 steps. The first one is to attach F. The second one is you attach every single thing that you have to the appropriate sides of letter C. So that's currently where I'm at. So I want to share with you what that looks like currently. So basically, you'll see here are my 4 pieces that are all the same size. Here's my one big piece, this is my medium piece, and this is like the bar that the boys can use to lift themselves up. Now this is part C right here, the big piece right here, and down there is part F. It's basically a foot that you'll be able to use. And this piece right here is designed, it can move up and down. The boys are tall enough now where I think I'm going to leave it on the lowest level. I don't think I need it way up here yet, but we'll see. We'll get the boys on this and see later on today what it looks like. Again, this bar is for them to pull themselves up on, so they can actually get up inside of here. And what's great is they'll be surrounded on all 4 sides, so that they don't fall out. So we have just basic bolts to put these together. Each piece gets 2 bolts from this side. And the same is going to be true when we attach the other side. So the other side looks like this. I did attach the foot already, that letter F there. Now, this part is strange because basically I want the middle piece right here to lock into that slot. So that's the first thing I'm going to do before I even start fastening anything together. Now what's going to happen, alright, I think it's there, is nothing's going to be lined up. So I'm going to have to line it up and put the screws in. I'm not going to bore you with me putting in a million screws at the same time because that's kind of dumb. But what I can do is take you out to the kitchen where I've already built one of these. I do have twins, so we got them each one of these. And you can see what it looks like when you get the finished product. Okay? Now, if I had done this in a different order and I did not follow my procedure, what could have happened is I could have attached these pieces to the wrong sides, and it would have just made things a lot more of a pain in the butt when it comes to putting it together like this. Also, I had to make sure that I put all the pieces in the right places, otherwise they would not fit and the screws would not go in. So basically, I've done part 1, 2, 3, and now part 4 is basically just me screwing it all together. So that's what I'm going to end up doing next. So I understand that sometimes reading your directions is really annoying, and sometimes it's easier to go without them. I know whenever I find a recipe online, I consider, do I want to follow this recipe, or do I want to do something on my own? The only time when I don't is when I'm baking. Baking is pure science, okay? If you don't put an exact amount in while you're baking, or if you do things in the wrong order while you're baking, bad things are going to happen. If you've ever seen the British Baking Championship or any of like the spring or holiday baking championships on the Food Network, you'll know that if you don't do things in the right order, you'll end up with something that not only tastes gross, but it's going to look awful as well. So if you have any questions about following procedures, feel free to text me or email me. And I'm really excited to see what you guys end up baking. And maybe when we get back together, you'll be able to bake some and bring it to class. Have a good day, guys.